This week's episode of the HP Outdoors Waterfowl Podcast is driven by Cornerstone Gun Dog Academy. CGA is the world's most comprehensive online gun dog training resource. They've got over 160 instructional videos, including everything you need to take a 7-week-old puppy to a finished gun dog. Visit cornerstonegundogacademy.com, sign up for their free preview module, and begin your journey today. Cornerstone Gun Dog Academy, the most advanced gun dog training resource on the web. You are listening to the HP Outdoors Waterfowl Podcast, episode 133. This week on the show, we're talking hunting and gun dogs with the Philadelphia Eagles quarterback, Carson Wentz. All right, welcome to the 133rd episode of the HP Outdoors Waterfowl Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Palm, and we're your on-demand audio source for all things waterfowl and waterfowl hunting. This week brought to you by Lifetime Decoys. Lifetime Decoys patent-pending designs use PVC-coated steel cable to prevent rust and corrosion, allow virtually zero line memory, while providing UV resistance, incredible strength, and durability. Unlike monofilament, steel cable won't coil up and tangle up with other lines because of excessive line memory. Their swivels and clips are made with high-quality stainless steel, and aluminum ferrules are hydraulically pressed, providing unsurpassed strength. These materials combine to form the strongest, longest-lasting, and most tangle-proof decoy rigging equipment on the market today, and they're the only manufacturer who offers a 3-year warranty as well as a money-back satisfaction guarantee. Thank you to Lifetime Decoys for their support of this week's show. Joining me this week on the show, as he always does, is my co-host, Dan Harushka. Dan, what's up, bud?
Dude, we're back for a little, at least intro, outro. Got another solo interview this week, but I do have a factoid for you. It's pretty good.
I'm sure it is. Let's hear it.
All right. It's talking about how can ducks go from sea level to super high really quick, right? So something that would cause trouble with humans, such as hypoxia. All right. So the key ingredient that makes this magic possible is their extraordinarily complex respiratory system, which works completely differently than mammal or insect respiration. It says a bird's lungs are only about half the size of a mammal's lungs proportionately. They also don't change in size or inflate or deflate like our lungs do while breathing. And air is drawn in through their lungs unidirectionally via a series of air sacs, some of which extend into their bones.
Bill Nye the Science Guy over here.
How about it? Hang on. Human lungs are inflated and deflated by our diaphragm. However, birds don't have diaphragms. Instead, their air sacs are ultimately controlled by their muscles. That means the more they move, the more air comes into the air sacs. When they are taking off for flight or flying, they're essentially filling themselves up like a balloon. This allows for greater oxygen-carbon dioxide exchange, but it also makes them much lighter relative to their body size than they are when they're not flying.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, not only allows them to, that elevation piece that you're talking about, but it just makes sense to allow them to be able to migrate for as long and as far as they do. So, yeah, definitely didn't know that.
And that also allows them to quack whether they're inhaling or exhaling. Have you ever tried to blow your duck call while you inhale?
Negative.
Yeah.
At least not on purpose.
So anyway, that was a little factoid today.
There you go. We heard Dan's factoid of the week. If you're into things like that, you can find those on all of our past episodes. If you're new to the show, head over to hpoutdoors.com. You can find all the episodes there, as well as on iTunes or Spotify or Stitcher, anywhere quality podcast content can be found. You can find our show. And we also would like to thank a couple more supporters of this week's episode before we get too much further down the road. I want to take a minute to thank Gunner Kennels, engineered for your dog, designed for travel and built for your peace of mind. The G1 Kennel has set a new industry standard and put Gunner Kennels in a category all its own. Gunner was started to protect your pet, and it continues to be at the center of everything that they do. Gunner is dedicated to building the best and safest pet travel crate on the market because man's best friend deserves man's best kennel. Check out their G1 series of kennels and accessories at gunnerkennels.com. Also, thank you to 737 Duck and Goose Calls. Original design, select grade components, superior sound, and unparalleled service. 737 takes exceptional pride in producing the finest quality, best built premium calls in the market today. They're made right here in America, offered only directly to consumers through their website. Shipping in the U.S. is always free. International orders are also now accepted online. 20-day money-back guarantee and a lifetime warranty accompany every call purchased. 737.calls lead the flock. Also, thank you to Big Kansas Outdoors, the premier waterfowl and upland destination in central Kansas. Big Kansas puts you on phenomenal waterfowl hunting in the morning, followed by great afternoon pheasant and quail hunting. Check them out on Facebook and Instagram. Big Kansas Outdoors is the experience of a lifetime. Also, if you head over to the HP Outdoors website, you can check out our discounts tab and see how you can save some money from some of the supporters of our show. So make sure you take advantage of that if you're in the market for some gear. All right, Dan. So as you mentioned, we've kind of had split schedules here the last couple of weeks. Last weekend, I was on the road in Indianapolis for the NRA annual meetings and convention. And this week, we had the opportunity to have a chat with Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz. Unfortunately, the timing wasn't working out for me personally, but you were able to make the time work and had a nice chat with Carson. So I know that's something that we're definitely looking forward to getting into this week on the show. Before we do that, though, I do want to take a minute to talk a little gun dog training, as we've got yet another Eukanuba tip of the episode for you, delivered by Barton Ramsey. So let's go ahead and roll that now, and we'll catch it on the other side.
Hey guys, this is Barton Ramsey with Cornerstone Gundog Academy, and this is your retriever training tip of the episode brought to you by Eukanuba. Today I want to talk about dog vests. We receive a lot of questions about dog vests, whether it's when to wear them, what brand to get, what size, and everything in between. We use dog vests here at Southern Oak Kennels only when the temperature drops below freezing and there's ice in the water, or if there is a potential of some type of hazard under the water, whether it's branches or cypress knees or something that might scrape the dog on his belly. Vests can be very helpful in protecting a dog who's retrieving into the water, whether it's an open hole naturally that's open, or it's an ice eater open hole, or some sort of environment where the dog is going to retrieve through the water and then climb out up onto the ice. Vests can be very helpful in protecting them in that environment. They can also be helpful in keeping a dog dry or warm by warming up water that becomes trapped between the dog's skin and the vest, and thus the body becomes an insulation piece, or the water becomes an insulator to keep the dog warm. Either way, you want to make sure that the vest you choose for your dog fits properly, which is usually a bit tighter than most people would imagine. I see pictures of people who have dogs online with vests that are baggy, they're sagging off the dog, they're hanging off the dog's back, too large. These will do nothing to prevent your dog from getting injured or cold. You want to make sure that the vest is tight, that whether you're zipping or buckling or velcroing the vest, it's a little bit difficult to get it on your dog. You don't want to have it so tight that the dog has difficulty breathing, but you want it to be tight, pushed against the dog's skin. You also want to make sure that the dog doesn't have a scoop in the vest right in front of its sternum that will act as a cup to take water and push it down into the vest and onto the dog's chest and around its stomach area. Remember, dogs become heated or cooled quicker in areas where there's no fur to insulate. So this would include a dog's stomach or belly where there's not a lot of fur. So cold water coming in contact with the chest or the belly will cool a dog's temperature off quicker than water, say, coming in contact with the hips or the back or the neck. And so these vests can act as an insulation piece. They can keep your dog warmer. They can also be helpful if you're hunting in an area where your dog has to constantly get back up onto a stand or into a blind or into a boat using your help, because a lot of the vests, such as the Rig'em Right Bloodline vest, have a handle on the back that you can use to pick your dog up and pull them out of the water. Whichever route you decide to go, be sure that you're paying attention to the environment that your dog is retrieving in. Choose wisely what type of vest that you'll use, which way it fits your dog, and then continue to use wisdom when it comes to which retrieves to send your dog on, always knowing that you're the one ultimately who's in charge of your dog's health and well-being.
All right. Thank you again to Barton Ramsey and Eukanuba for supporting and supplying this week's tip of the episode. You know, Dan, I know that the dog vest is definitely one that a lot of guys, I don't know, in my opinion, maybe don't always truly understand. Kind of, they throw it on all the time sort of thing. And, as outlined, it can hinder your dog, depending on the fit and the conditions as much as it could help them.
Right. And like you said, he uses it below freezing in water if there's a hazard in the water. I think some of the biggest issues you see, and it might be because it's very difficult to measure your dog. All the dogs are different sizes. So getting a vest that fits properly, and you see a lot that do have that scoop in the front that Barton was talking about.
Yep, definitely.
And that could, so if you think about it, if you're putting that on to protect them from sticks or logs that are sunk under the water, and then that scoop gets caught, or if they're just trying to swim in a little bit of current, man, that's going to tucker them out pretty quick. So definitely something to, if you order one and it's not fitting properly, take the time to send it back and get one that does fit right. So, even if you have to cut it and just make sure that, you don't have that scoop, and, ultimately it's for the safety of the dog. So make sure that it fits properly.
Yeah. I mean, that tip's huge because I would venture a guess that, first time, gun dog owners and stuff would be particularly susceptible to that. But maybe even some guys that have had multiple dogs and stuff, I don't know if people would truly know what the right fit is, so. Right.
And like you said, it should be difficult to zip. And even, Kimber, like she's super skinny in the waist. And then I think she's like 65 pounds, right? And she wears like an XL in most dog vests just because her chest is deep, I guess, long, tall.
Yeah.
I guess tall. So, but I've had to cut one just to make sure it went around the arms. But other than that, it was tight fitting up around the neck and didn't have that scoop. So, and another thing you said, those handles are nice, especially if they're in the water and you're trying to get them back in the boat or
definitely
onto a stand. So things to look for.
Well, and great tip. Another thing too, I would worry about with that scoop, if you've got debris in the water, like sunken logs or sticks or something that's of any substantial size, like if your dog's like rolling through there and gets hung up and gets like a stick jammed down in there, that can be a really dangerous situation, where the dog might have trouble getting back up above waterline and things like that. So,
and that's where you want them protected, not just the belly, but right in the lower throat region. So if you have that scoop and it's not protecting that area, that it's bad all around. So make sure it fits properly.
Yeah, definitely a quality tip this week. And thank you again to Barton and Eukanuba for their support of that tip of the week. All right, man, let's transition here and talk a little bit about this week's interview and, your chat with Carson. Again, I wasn't able to be involved, kind of a bummer, but, it was exciting to have the opportunity to have him on the show and talk a little bit with him about, his background and sort of, all that good stuff as far as, the waterfowling part of it goes. So I was excited to hear when he was going to come on, and I'd heard the story, and I know you get into this, but I think it was like a Sports Illustrated article or something that, him laying in the goose field when he got the call to be the starting quarterback, for the Eagles. I know that's a pretty widely distributed story. So I thought that was cool.
I think it's when Sam Bradford got traded and he became the leader of the pack. And, we talk about a lot of things, from family and football to hunting and his faith. And I mean, one word to describe Carson would just be passionate. He goes full force into whatever he does, and I think people will enjoy the talk.
Cool. Well, let's not wait any longer. Let's go ahead and get into it and welcome Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz to the show.
All right, and today I am incredibly honored to get a few minutes of time from a quarterback and an outdoor-loving man, Mr. Carson Wentz. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Dan.
Yeah, I greatly appreciate the time, and I can only imagine your schedule, not even during season, but the off season as well. But definitely appreciate it. And I guess we can get right into it. First, I wanted to say congrats. I know that you recently got married, and we can start right there. But kind of how important is it to you to have a good support system in a wife with the kind of schedule that you have?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for that. And first of all, it's been a blessing. It's one of God's greatest gifts on earth, and she's been amazing. And to have the support system for really anybody is huge. But especially in my situation, having a lot of public pressure and different things, to be able to just come home and know that she's going to be the same every day. She's going to love me for who I am and not for what I do. That's been quite the blessing. And so she loves me the same every day, win or lose. And we're extremely blessed with the marriage that we have, and also just recently got her into the outdoors a little bit this last year too. So it's been fun seeing her start to take a liking a little bit to the outdoors as well.
I was going to say, I saw a couple pictures of her in a duck blind with you, and I have to ask, how is she a good shot, or how's that transitioning?
Well, it's been fun. She's definitely started off a lot better than I started off. I will say that. You know how it is, always picking up a shotgun and trying to shoot moving targets. It's a little bit of a challenge at first. So, but she's taken to it well, and she enjoys it. She shot her first goose this year, and even cooler, she shot her first deer this year as well. I was actually filming it in the blind with her, so that was pretty special for both of us and pretty fun, and hopefully looking forward to doing that a little bit over the years. And she says she's not as crazy about it as I am, because I think that's hard to do. But she says she definitely enjoys getting out there, and as long as it's not too cold, she says.
Yeah, and that's especially if you make trips home, that might be tough on her, right?
Yeah, home's a little different.
So, man, all right, let's go back. I was doing a little creeping on you. That's kind of my job. So you were born in Raleigh, and you moved up to North Dakota, went to college up there. When did you start getting into the outdoors? And, speaking of a support system, you had your brother around you. I assume you guys grew up hunting together, and now he's a big part of what you do outside of football.
Yeah. I grew up in North Dakota, and got in the outdoors a little bit, in kind of middle school and a little in high school, but I wasn't really crazy about it. I was a super busy kid that played, whatever sport was in season. That's what I cared about that in school. And, we hunted deer a little bit. We hunted pheasants just a few times, but I thought it was okay. I'd rather have been at the park playing flag football or shooting hoops or doing something. That was just kind of my life as a kid. But then college came around, and now all of a sudden my life was school and football only. And I went on a pheasant hunting trip with a couple of my buddies and got to see his dog work. Saw tons of birds. I think that was maybe one of the biggest differences, is we didn't see a ton of birds growing up. So saw a ton of birds, and I couldn't hit a thing. I had an absolute blast though, and it was almost from that day on I said, I'm going to get into this hunting thing. And I just fell in love with it, and kind of became hooked and got into waterfowl, and then the deer hunting became that much more serious to me. And a couple of years later got into archery and got a dog, and kind of just dove all in. And for me in college, it was just the perfect kind of escape from school and from football and the pressures of those things. And I also kind of saw a spiritual aspect of it, just because you got to see God's creation in a new way and kind of immerse yourself in it. And so I just fell in love with it. And, through college, my brother, my dad, and I hunted together. I had a couple college buddies that I still to this day hunt with. And just from that day on, it was just kind of, I was in love with the outdoors, whatever it meant, whatever it looked like, whatever we were hunting. I was, I'm trying to go do it. By no means am I an expert at any one thing, but I just love getting out there.
Man, that's awesome. And then, so your brother's been around you. Is he older or younger?
He's 3 years older.
He's 3 years older. So he's been around, watched you grew up. And how did the Wentz brother outdoors start? He must be a big hunter too. And I saw, I was watching the stag hunt that you went on, and he had the camera behind you. So is that something that he's passionate about, or you guys switch back and forth?
Yeah, so that was kind of just a random thing. He ended up moving out to the Philadelphia area with me, him and his wife. And, he now runs the AO1 Foundation that we started, but we do a lot of our hunting together and really did a little bit when we were younger, but then in college, we started hunting a lot more together. And then coming out here, we hunted a lot together. So one day we're going back to North Dakota for a bye week, my rookie season, and we were going to both go deer hunting, and we're like, shoot, we might as well just film it, and so we made a little video out of it, and then we filmed our next snow goose hunt and made another video out of it. So like, maybe this is something we could do and, get some sponsors and build a brand, and ended up, making an Instagram page, making a YouTube account. YouTube account's no longer active as we're now on the Outdoor Channel's, digital platform. And it's been really cool just to develop it together from scratch with my brother, and neither of us having a clue how to use a camera, how to take pictures and create videos and create content. But it's been fun, watching a lot of YouTube videos, learning how to do it, picking a lot of people's brains, and seeing kind of where it's come to this point. And it's been fun, and we love looking back at the content, and make a lot of memories. But it's cool to be able to look back at those memories when the hunt's over.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I know, Josh always says there's no bag limit on memories made, and it doesn't matter if you harvest the animal or not. It's about the time being out there and with the people that you enjoy in your life. So we're definitely on the same page there. So Carson, I have to ask you, man. You got all this stuff going on, and you're NFL quarterback. Like how do you manage it? How do you have the time to go on these hunts?
Yeah.
And I can't, when most guys work a 9 to 5, they have weekends, or, they can go out before work or whatever it is, but it just seems like, you're a busy dude.
Yeah. Well, I think first of all, I probably don't sleep enough. That's probably one of the first things, but I like to stay busy. I think sometimes drive my wife crazy because I'm always, on the go. But I do enjoy that. It's kind of how I'm wired. And, in the fall, obviously time is very, very limited, but we do get one off day each week. And you can pretty much count on me being in a tree stand or a ground blind or a layout blind or something that morning or that evening of that off day. And then it's a work week again. And so for me, it's just kind of the ultimate escape from, the pressures of the season and football and everything else, and just get to kind of hit the reset button with it. And then, we have our bye week, which we definitely get some good hunting in over the bye week each year. And then in the off season, sometimes you just, it's the springtime, so you have to travel a little bit more to hunt. And, we've gone overseas. We've done some really cool things. We've, done a snow goose trip every year. So we find time whenever it may be. Right now it's turkey season, so we're trying to get after those long beards as well. So we enjoy it. We make the most of it, and it's always cool for me to get my wife out there too. So I can kind of have some quality time with my wife, but still I'm still in the outdoors doing what I love at the same time. So it's pretty cool, and we find time when there is time.
That's awesome. Very awesome. Now, I have to ask, because I remember seeing an article, and it stated that you were goose hunting in a cornfield when they let you know you were going to be starting that week. Is that true?
That is very true.
Oh, my gosh.
And can't make that up, but I wouldn't have it any other way other than the fact that we didn't shoot any geese that morning. But I was laying out there when I got the phone call, and it was a slow morning, and I was like, you know what, we should probably pack up and call it a day. It's time to get home. And pretty cool.
And get prepped up, get ready for that. That's a definitely an awesome call to get while you're out in the field. So, man, you said when you were in college you started diving in with dogs, right? So that's when you.
Yep.
So golden retriever, that seems to be your thing, right?
Yep.
What made you go that way, and how are your dogs doing?
Yeah, so I started with my buddy's my buddy's chocolate lab was the first dog that I'd hunted over other dogs, but first dog I ever like really truly watched and had like a bond with his dog, and then got to see him, come out of cover and come out of brush with a bird in his mouth, and just got to see him work. And I was like, that is awesome. So I was like, I want to get a dog. Parents thought I was nuts. I used to be afraid of dogs when I was a kid. They kind of thought as if I need more responsibility as a college athlete. But I made the most of it and did a ton of research. I liked labs. I liked a handful of other breeds, and I just I fell in love with the field bred golden retriever lines, and ended up finding one and bought one. And she's been awesome. She's now 6 years old. She's a ton of fun, and in college fetched a lot of ducks over the ponds that I never would have been able to fetch myself. And she's by no means is she like an expert. She's not like that next level advanced. She's not winning any master hunter titles or any of those things, but she does her job and does it effectively and has a blast doing it. And now we've added 2 more Goldens to the family, and they're just a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun, whether it's hunting, whether we're training, whether I'm just riding the 4-wheeler out back and they're chasing me, or snuggled up on the couch with us. They're just the ultimate family pet, and they're the ultimate, kind of friend in the field as well.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And I think I saw, Barton Ramsey's a big part of the show. He's on quite a bit and actually does the Eukanuba tips weekly or every other week. And yep. I think I saw Jersey went down to one of his outposts to get freshened up, a little bit of upkeep on the training.
Yeah.
Down with Parrish.
Sent Jersey down there for just a month, just because it was training camp for me, and I just wanted to make sure he was still getting some work in, because I was obviously busy at that time. So get him kind of freshened up for the season, and it was pretty cool.
Nice. And then so there's Henley, Jersey, and is Riggs? Is that your?
Yep.
The new
Riggs
dog?
is what is he now? He's 5.5 months. He's fun. And I think he'll be the most driven of the 3 dogs. The other 2 are they're probably your typical Goldens. They have drive, but they're not like the crazy drive that you'll find in like a lab, so to speak. But Riggs, we found him and found a breeding that hopefully is pretty comparable to the drive of a lab. So him hunting, with Jersey, and Henley will still be out there some, the older one, but mainly Jersey and Riggs will be out there just to kind of see the. Jersey's a little more hesitant, but really, really smart, really good nose. Listens great, and then Riggs might be the little on the crazier side, but together I think they'll make an awesome team.
Man, that's great. So now I have to ask, do you do a lot of the training yourself, or do you have is your brother involved with that as well?
So I do most of it myself. So I'm to blame for all their mistakes and lack of training at times. It was one of those things in college. I was like, I'm going to do this, and I don't know what the heck I'm doing. So I'm watching videos. I'm, trying to read books and messing up my dog all along the way. But thankfully, she was smart and figured it out despite me. And then Jersey has a little better, and we're still getting there on some of the things, but he actually does really well, do a lot of the casting and lining, and he's come a long way now that I think he's matured a little bit after he's turned 2 now, and now with Riggs I've trained him up to this point, but with him I'll have to probably send him away just because he'll be 6-7 month mark when it's about training camp time, and that's when he kind of really hit the next level of obedience and advanced kind of gun dog training that I just want to have the time to do. So he'll get sent away, but I'm looking forward to getting him back and getting to, kind of do some group training with him in Jersey. And I love it though. For me, I love hunting obviously, but if I don't have the time or it's not season for hunting, whatever it is, I love just going out back and working with the dogs and seeing them, kind of light up, just stoked to go fetch or jump in the water, find some blind birds or whatever it is. They do a great job, and then I enjoy it.
Man, I tell you, there's there's no complaining about owning dogs, and they definitely make your life better. And I could imagine you walking through the door to your wife and dogs, and after a rough day and going out and being able to play with them, it's probably takes a lot of stress off you, and you get to go out and enjoy that. And I have to ask, because Eukanuba is a big supporter of Wentz Brothers and our podcast. So how are the dogs doing on nutrition wise, as far as the food and all the support that they give you there?
Yeah, they've been awesome. Eukanuba's been amazing to work with. Dogs love their food. I will say, I think the dogs would love any food, but they crush their Eukanuba food. And I've seen Jersey with much more energy, and they've been, again, an awesome partner, and I think it's definitely helpful out in the field as well.
Yeah. What let me ask you, just I saw you got on a scoter hunt last season.
Yep.
You get a call that you're going to be a starter in the goose field. So, kind of what's your go-to if you had a choice in the waterfowl world? What are you going to go and spend your time doing?
I'd probably choose hunting mallards over water. To me, just hunting over a pond or a slough or whatever it is is probably my favorite. The dogs love it, except Jersey. He doesn't love the cold water yet, so we're working on that. But I don't know. There's just something about watching the sun come up over cattails in a pond or slough, and seeing mallards and other ducks just flying, even before first light, and just action happens right away. And but I would say just waterfowl in general is probably my favorite. I love all kinds of hunting, but strictly and simply because I get to take my dogs, it's hard to beat waterfowl for me.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat. I think I spent about 4 hours hunting whitetail last year, and usually I'm out in archery quite a bit, but the waterfowl is kind of just taken over as far as my free time goes. So
yeah, no doubt. I think whitetail in the fall definitely takes a cake for me, just because it's easier on an off day. But when I get a chance to, whether it's a bye week to go duck or goose hunting, or the off season, I definitely, I'm chomping at the bit to get out there with these dogs.
I have to ask you, did you get a snow goose hunt in this year?
We did. It was a slow year. Definitely a slow year.
We kind of had the same. I think we killed less than 10 on both days we went out, and it was absolutely just a thunderstorm the third day, so we decided not to go. But one question I actually have that we get a lot, there's a lot of people that ask about sizes of gear, and you're a big guy, like 6'5", and you seem to go with Sitka, and it seems to fit you pretty well. So what are there any pieces there that you really enjoy when you're out?
Yeah, boy, that's a good question.
We always get we always get the long arms. Like people say, my arms are too long, or they're not, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
They think they're too big, but I know, Josh, the other host of the show here, he's 6'4". I know you're 6'5", and you're wearing it, so you had to find something.
Yeah. I wear 2X in most of the stuff, and then the sleeves get longer. Occasionally, there's a piece or two that maybe the sleeves are a little short, but for the most part, I love. Their gear is, second to none. It's we've been in every element from way too hot and humid to freezing blizzards in North Dakota. And their gear holds up as good as anything I've ever had. So we're extremely blessed to have a partnership with them, and to get me and my brother, my wife, and kind of everybody outfitted in Sitka. So I know we don't have to worry about the gear that we're taking to the field, and that we're going to be just fine with whatever the elements are.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Gore-Tex is something different. I'm sitting here thinking and just thinking about doing looking through some of your videos and different things like that, and a few different things popped up that made me want to ask you a question, and that's how how do you deal with social media and not just the, is it something that you try to ignore? And I read an article, or I think it was actually on the news, where someone called you out about a pile of geese, and you said, man, stay convicted to what you're true to. And, it was just a very epic response. So, do you read everything, or like, how is it? It got to get rough sometimes.
No, I mean, I've been trying to avoid it for years, but I think really recently, I've really started to avoid it, just because there's good, there's bad, there's a lot, and I do enjoy Instagram. I enjoy, seeing pictures and, follow a handful of, other outdoor accounts and stuff, just because I love seeing pictures of dogs and seeing hunting, adventures and that sort of thing. So, I wouldn't say I'm like off of social media, but when it comes to kind of Twitter and reading comments and all of that stuff, like, I just don't even start, because there's just too much negativity that can kind of just try to not let infiltrate my mind. But at the same time, I use social media, to try and, promote the things I'm passionate about, whether that's Jesus or that's the outdoors, football, my wife, my dogs, whatever it is. I just use it to maybe, challenge people and, where they're at, and whatever it is, and try and uplift and encourage people and use it for good. But at the same time, just try to not read too much. But the post you're talking about, I mean, back then I was probably reading it a little too much, and I had to make a point. I had to make a point, but for the most part, I stay off that stuff. I wouldn't say all the time, but for the most part.
Yeah, that's probably good advice to yourself. Try not to read all that. But man, okay, so you're passionate about football, outdoors, family. I don't know if everyone that watches your football games knows what else you got going, but the audience of one and Thy Kingdom Crumb. Go ahead and plug that and tell me, how'd you get that started, and the good stuff that you're doing there.
Yeah. So, we started the AO1 Foundation, when, after my rookie season, and, AO1 stands for Audience of One. And I actually kind of was my motto throughout college, and I got it tattooed on my wrist, and, just stands for Audience of One, and just everything I'm doing, whether I'm playing, whether I'm hunting, or, was going to class back in the day, hanging with friends, whatever it is you do. I'm just doing it for the Lord as my audience. I'm not trying to please my friends, my family, the fans, the media, anybody. First person, I'm doing it for the Lord. So, that's just always been a motto and something that's challenged me, but, then kind of took that and made it into a foundation. And, I just wanted to find a way to give back and make a difference and inspire and impact people. But at the same time, do it from a Christ-centered perspective and make sure Jesus was involved in kind of everything we do. So really it's become a 3 different ministry approach. We started helping build a sports complex in Haiti by partnering with Mission of Hope down there, and just know what sports have done for me and opportunities they've provided me, and then also just what they've done in my faith and just the people I've met and how it's grown me as a man and as a man of God. So I wanted to provide those same opportunities for people in Haiti. So building a sports complex down there where kids will, boys and girls will get a chance to come and play sports and, do it on a turf field or a nice basketball court, things that they don't have access to down there. And then at the same time, they're going to hear about Jesus. They're going to hear the gospel. They're going to be kind of trained up as to be men and women of God as well. So that'll be really cool. It's in the building process right now. And then we started last year, Thy Kingdom Crumb, a food truck and an outdoor ministry as well. And we'll start with outdoor ministry. It's just an awesome way to get kids that have, either overcome a childhood illness or cancer or anything like that, or is currently going through something, the chance to just experience the outdoors in a new way. And so we've been taking a handful of kids on different hunts kind of all across the Midwest. We're looking forward in the future to doing some fishing trips as well, and just getting these kids the opportunity that they might not receive, to just bring them some joy and something exciting in their life, and also connect them with the Lord through the outdoors as well. And so every kid that goes on those hunts is going to be prayed with, is going to get into the God's Word with the older mentor that we send on the trip as well. And it's just a super cool, spiritual and physical blessing for these kids. And then we have a camp that we do also with those same types of kids. We just bring them together. Last year was our first one. We call it Camp Conquerors. And it's just an amazing camp for those same types of kids. They get to bring a friend, and they just get to experience the outdoors in a new way. They all get to celebrate each other's, victories with their illnesses or whatever it is they're going through, and then also learn about the Bible and learn about Jesus and everything through that as well. And then the last one, Thy Kingdom Come, is a mobile food. It's a food truck that goes around the Philadelphia area and passes out free food, and also, it's physical nourishment for those that are out there, whether they're physically in lack or impoverished or whatever, but also for those that are not and might be well off. It's for everybody, and so at the same time, we're providing a spiritual aspect to it as well. We have teams out there on the streets that are praying with people, that are just encouraging people, uplifting, sharing Jesus with people. And we've just seen some amazing stories and some amazing things happen, and God just changing lives through that food truck. And again, it's physical nourishment, but a spiritual nourishment is kind of the motto behind everything we do. We're going to provide a blessing physically, but then spiritually as well, hopefully connect them with their Savior Jesus. So it's been super cool to see how far God's taken it in just really 2 years, and we're excited for what the future holds with it.
Man, that is absolutely incredible. And I thought I saw a video saying you guys might try and get to my dog's trying to get out the door here, but you guys are going to try and expand that to different cities. Is that still part of the plan?
Yeah. So it's a food truck. And really the camps and the hunting trips. I mean, the hunting trips take place kind of all across the Midwest. The camp right now is just in North Dakota, but between those things and then the food truck, we'll see what kind of God has in store, and with people, if the right resources and opportunities come in, we're looking to always expand and then steward those resources well. And so that might mean other cities, other locations, multiple trucks, the whole 9 yards. So, but right now we're kind of creating the blueprint on that food truck and some of these programs, because there's lots of food trucks, but none of them that are free going around. So we're creating the blueprint, which is fun, and then hopefully we can implement that in other cities in the future.
That's awesome. And I see you have the line set up, so I imagine that you guys are feeding quite a few people.
Yeah, on average, I think it's about, it can be as low as, 200 or so and up to 1,000. I think on average, it's about 500 meals served each time we go out. And, it's just an amazing way to bless and give back to the community, both physically and spiritually as well. We definitely are passionate about it and love it.
And going back to the AO1 Foundation, you had a softball event last year, was the first one, right? And you had 25,000 people show up, raised $850,000, and you got another one coming up. Is it still possible for people to donate to that if they want?
Yeah. So we have the game's coming up May 31st. It'll be at Citizens Bank Park here in Philly, right at the Philly Stadium again. And last year we had 25,000 people. You had all my teammates out there just having a blast. People can still get tickets at a1foundation.org, or they can always find those links on my social media pages as well, and the foundation social media pages as well. But we're just really looking forward to that. For one, it's an amazing night. It's a ton of fun. The guys out there are having a blast. A lot of fan engagement involved. Just a fun community event, but it also raises money for some amazing causes and some amazing things to be accomplished in the communities as well.
Excellent. And I can't have you on here and not ask you about the upcoming season a little bit. The draft just happened. You guys pulled a couple guys out of Penn State. What are your thoughts coming up? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Excited about the upcoming season. I think our roster looks really good. The locker room is a bunch of great dudes that are hungry, and I'm excited. I'm really excited to for me, put, these injuries behind me and just go play and go back to being myself, just playing free out there. And, B, just, again, excited about this roster and this group of guys. I think we have the ability to do something special again, and it's going to take a lot of work. But, no, I think there's a lot of excitement for really all Philly sports out here this time. But we're pretty stoked and looking forward to the season.
Yeah, I saw he just had an interview or a sit down with Bryce Harper too. So I'm sure that Philly has to be excited.
Yeah. This Philly sports scene right now is pretty amazing, but at the same time, it's always amazing just because the fans and the culture out here. They can't get enough Philly sports, so they make it fun to play out here.
Yeah, you can definitely use the word passionate with Philadelphia fans. I would say.
No doubt.
No doubt about it. Well, man, listen, I thoroughly have enjoyed talking with you. I know that you're super busy. You have tons of things going on. So I just want to thank you again. And there's nothing more exciting to me than to watch a mobile quarterback. So I'm excited for you this coming season, and someone at 6'5" that can get out there and do what you do, it's very impressive. And know that you got another PA fan up here.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that, man. We're looking forward to it.
And we're not too far away, so if you ever want to get together for a hunt somewhere, know some people down your way too.
Awesome. That'd be awesome.
All right, Carson. Well, take care, and God bless, man.
All right, you as well. Thank you.
All right. Well, again, thank you to Carson for taking some time out and joining the program. And nicely done, Dan. It always feels weird. It always feels weird, and I'm sure you can agree. It always feels weird listening to interviews that we're not both involved, right? It's weird for me to hear you just do ones, and I'm sure it's weird for you to hear them when I do them just on my own.
So what? This is 130, 133. Yep. Is that right? Yep. Yeah. So, and we might have 7 that are solo between the both of us, maybe somewhere around there. So, yeah.
Something like that.
At least 125, I imagine that both of us are on. But yeah, it's definitely different. But I don't know. I think that's the first time I ever really spoke to a pro quarterback, and I told him when we got on, I was like, man, it's we try and do the campfire talk. So and it was just like I was on the phone with a buddy that I've known for a really long time. So it was a great interview. The one question I asked him about Sitka gear, how's it fit? Because we get a lot of questions from taller guys. And I'm like, Josh is 6'4", Carson is 6'5", I believe. And, he got the long arms too. And he says the 2X fits him right. And that's all he wears. So, I guess I can't believe too many people if they're having sizing issues, but
yeah. It's funny. It's funny you bring up Sitka gear, and I'm gonna sidestep just a minute from our interview here with Carson. But my wife watches. I can't remember the name of it, but it's do you remember the chick from MTV, Kristen Cavallari, whatever it is? You know what I'm talking about? Back in the day, I can't remember. Anyway, it's the chick that Jay Cutler married.
Ah, yes.
Well, they have a TV show, shocker, and it's whatever. And literally, he is on the show wearing Sitka gear all the time. And of course, my wife catches that. That catches her eye. She's like, "Who's this dude?" He's wearing all the. So it was funny. Well, the last episode, apparently, he was blowing a duck call in the house and sounded terrible. And
I saw a little thing about that.
Oh, did you? Yeah. See, I didn't even see it. My wife just mentioned it to me, but I thought it was funny because I know she tells me he's always wearing. She tells me he's always wearing Sitka gear, which I thought was cool. And then she was like, "Yeah, he's blowing duck calls in the house too." I'm like, "Eh."
Someone had it. Someone had it on Facebook, and everyone was making fun of him because he's just quack, quack.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, yeah. Great interview. Like I said, the dude's passionate. He gets after it, and he likes to stay busy, and he's definitely staying busy. So got a lot of stuff going on, and
looking forward to seeing the show and
watching them dogs grow up.
Yep.
And I think extra thanks to Eukanuba for their support of our show and his show.
Yep.
They're, a big part of it. And can't say enough about them.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome stuff. All right, man. What else you got for us this week? Anything, maybe one last thing for us before we wrap it up?
No, one of our good friends, Tim Nebel, is getting married this weekend. So
congratulations, Tim.
Going down there. And I think that's like my last friend to get married. So, one more rehearsal and wedding night to be a part of and stand up there with him. Honored to be a part of it and excited for him. I know he listens, so congrats, man. Excited for the weekend.
Yeah, sounds awesome. All right, man. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this week up. Before we do, just want to take a minute again to thank Cornerstone Gun Dog Academy. It's the world's most comprehensive online gun dog training resource with over 160 instructional videos, including everything you need to take a 7-week-old puppy to a finished gun dog. Head over to cornerstonegundogacademy.com, sign up for the free preview module, and begin your journey today. Cornerstone Gun Dog Academy, the world's most advanced gun dog training resource on the web. Also, thank you to Lifetime Decoys, Gunner Kennels, 737 Duck and Goose Calls, and Big Kansas Outdoors. Again, we say it all the time, guys, but please support the companies that support us. They help us do this show, and all the opportunities that we get through this show are greatly supported by them. So certainly appreciate their effort. And I think that's it, man. Let's go ahead and put a bow on this week. All right, that does it for episode 133. Again, thank you to Carson Wentz for joining us this week. And also thank you for tuning in. If you're new to the show, head over to iTunes. Check out all of our past episodes. You can leave us a 5-star rating and review while we're there. We certainly appreciate that. It helps other hunters just like you find our program. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you're on Facebook, head over to our listeners group and join in the conversation over there. And until next week, we'll be back with you for new content. For Dan, I'm Josh. Take care.